Hello and welcome back to Rei-Jin-G-Lu-P. Let's continue. Chami just told us nobody can escape God, and the music stopped dramatically. I found her words so irrational it began to frighten me. I asked Chami to call Kyo to help carry the corpse, but she insisted on doing it herself. I caved and we began the unpleasant task. Following Takumi's example, we removed the door and placed his body on it. Chami and I took one end of the door and lifted up. He was as heavy as he looked, and I wouldn't have been surprised if this was too much even for two men. However, Chami lifted her side without letting out a single grunt of exertion. It felt like active rejection of the idea that she might need help. We slowly began walking. Kyo was outside. He was anxious about something. It didn't look like he was waiting for us. So maybe Rikaku hadn't come out yet? I couldn't afford to stop and chat. Relaxing my arms or lower body could lead to me dropping Takumi. I kept walking forward without a single word. Sighing and stopping was our sign that one of us needed to rest. Every time one of us did, we lowered to the ground, rubbing our aching hands, adjusted our grips, and resumed walking. As we approached the cliff, Chami's expression grew darker.
Takumi 兄ちゃんは休みずで一番年の近いお兄ちゃんだったから。
I wasn't going to ask how that mattered. I didn't see a point of questioning it. I simply nodded, continuing to play the role of the audience.
昔はいっぱい遊んでくれたし、怒られた時は、こんな何もない湿っぽい場所だけど。
そうだね。わかるよ。
まっすぐな人だった。
Indeed.
捨てたくないよ。
ああ。と、やめる。このやり方にこだわりそうなのは、匠さん本人とタイさんくらいしかいないんじゃ。汚れか。
I continued asking if she was sure, but she didn't change her mind, so we ended up throwing his body into the Saranaga. We walked through the graveyard, careful not to trip. We could now see the hanging pine through the mist. Our destination was clear. We carefully closed in on the cliff and pushed the door towards it.
さよなら、匠兄ちゃん。
She said that right as I felt the body slide off. It was falling. I'd done this several times now, but it still made me feel empty. I'd eventually hit the water and make a splash, and that would be it. Huh?
水音した？
さあ。
聞き違いか？
あるいはサラナガの底が抜けて黄泉の国に。
本当にファンタジーだね。
霧の向こうに何があるか。
今から降りてみせよう。
あなたは帰ってこない。
That was how she saw the world.
戻ろう。
We returned to do another investigation of Takumi's house, but something strange had happened while we were gone. Kinosuke was still in the same spot in front of Rikaku's house, waiting for her without even trying to hide his frustration. Yeah, there's always been two deaths before, haven't there? Like, always? Like, I'm always expecting one, but we always get two, no matter what. She's probably dead.
まだ出てこないんですか？
We just heard a sound inside. Oh god, he's gonna hate us when we tell him. Well, we called for her, she didn't answer, and we heard a sound, so she must be fine. Oh god.
音がしたから。
待ってる間に。
そんなぶしつけなことができるか？
Yeah. He assumed that we talked to her.
なんでそんなにリカコさんにだけ気を使ってるんです？ノサトは上松より格上でしょうに。
That was an interesting bit of info. I hadn't realized that the head families had a hierarchy.
女性に気を使うのは当然だ。
That's not it.
私も女性なんで。
あえて敵外心をむき出しにしてくる相手に。
勘弁してくださいよ。ついさっきそこで死人が出たんです
That
よ。
was probably one of the reasons why we were so agitated, but my comment was enough to shut them up.
とはいえ心配ですね。中で病気やら怪我やらしてたら大変だ。最悪踏み込み。
そんなぶしつけな。
Well, knock, pound on the door. Hello, are you in there? We're about to come in. Give her a warning. Was he the type of guy to report someone who undressed a girl to give her proper first aid? What was up with this guy's priorities? That's a weird example.
上松さん、
I bashed the door almost violently. I heard sounds of rustling clothes. What the hell? Is there like a wolf in there eating her? Has she collapsed or something? No answer again, only sounds. Was it really Rikaku in there? Yeah, I don't think this is good. Chiemi nodded while Kyo gave a disgruntled sigh. The door was made from thin plywood and a wooden frame. A solid impact would break through. I looked around and saw a few aged farming tools lying against some houses. The wooden hoe and mallet were too rotten to work here. But the old axe looked just right. I lifted the axe and started counting, but had to stop midway. There was the sound of clattering. The door suddenly moved. What the freak is going on? Surprised, I jumped backwards and glanced at the other two. They were just as shocked, if not frightened. There was no response at first, but a few seconds later the door shook again. A moment later it fell silence once more. Had she collapsed on the door? Why the hell are you assuming that? If she wasn't well and was lying next to the door, breaking it open was dangerous. I put the axe down and walked to the door again. You have to get this door open. The moment I approached it, I heard a clicking sound. If she's there, I am so suspicious of her. Like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't have time to question what happened before it creaked open. There was a gap of about 20 millimeters. It was pitch black inside. And there was a face all covered in blood. Whoa. What the hell? She's a wolf, right? We must be seeing the wolf transformation thing? Or is this her family's curse or something? It sunk back into the darkness that very moment, but was soon replaced by an inhuman scream and an arm snaked out and grabbed for my neck. The grip had inhuman strength behind it. I ignored Chiemi's and Kyo's scream and tried to pry myself free. My throat was on the verge of crushing. The groans continued ceaselessly. The nails dug into my neck and I was being dragged inside. How the hell was she so strong? This arm clearly belonged to... Yeah, this really looks like Rikaku. Completely normal. How do you have strength? You look so normal. My words got them out of their stupor and they ran up to me. As panic and lack of oxygen dimmed my vision, they grabbed, bashed, and tugged at the arm that was holding on to me. I don't know how long it took, but when I was eventually freed, Chiemi swiftly slammed the door shut. Sitting on the ground in shock, I simply stared at their exchange. I could still barely breathe, my vision was hazy, and I couldn't think clearly. Something inside was trying to get the door open and possibly escape. What it was, though, I had no idea. What had happened to Rikaku? Actions were more important than words here. Sealing my resolve, I rose to my feet. We gathered everyone who could still move and sealed off Rikaku's door and windows with planks, nails, a large farming tools, and whatever else we could find. The small house was basically a pile of flimsy barricades now. Everyone was tired from all the work and sat down to rest. What was the point of doing all this, though? Someone asked. We still heard groans and crashing sounds from the inside. What the fuck? No one answered the question, but we all understood that letting that thing out would be a mistake. But what exactly was it? That seemed like an answer of some sort anyway. What? Whoa, so what's... It sounded like a circular thing. So the wolves come back because of their grudge over being killed during the feast. But then you have the feast because the wolves are there. Endless cycle.
そうとは限らんのよ、ハルちゃん。あるいは、汚れは読み人を生んだのかも。
バカな！近畿の守り手、浄化を。
じゃからこそ、汚れに触れすぎ。
それ。
思えば休みずに来られたのは、これから匠は、ナムしない大権現。ナムしない大権現。
A silent prayer. Her eyes were teary, and her shoulders were shaking.
待て。じゃあ、理科。
読み人はくくらねばならん。
That didn't sit right with me. The rule was that breaking the laws meant getting the corruption, and getting the corruption meant being slaughtered, right? This is the first time I heard it was possible to do something about the corruption, and that she died because of that. Logic had little grounds here, so the people were gradually losing their minds. They were being pushed closer to death. It was like this was a supernatural phenomenon. Duh! What? You've seen the wolves, dude! Ah! She's too creepy.
皆さん
Not with whatever you're gonna feed us.
私はもう落ち着きましたから。
It was not a very attractive suggestion. I
皆さん
disagree.
が落ち着いてから。
As we all turned away and returned to the dining hall, I felt Rikaku let out a groan even more inhumanly loud than any of those before. Once we arrived, the place was dominated by heavy silence. There were sounds coming from the kitchen. A kitchen knife rhythmically hit the cutting board as Kaori prepared the food. Tae-san was seated away from everyone, desperately yet fluently chanting a sutra. Combined with the kitchen sounds, it had a mind-numbing effect. Everyone else was simply falling into a torpor? I don't know the word. Staring silently into space. Even I, the sanest person in the room, says you, wanted to simply let my mind shut down and stop thinking. That wouldn't stop me from trying, though. Rather than trying to evaluate the details, I decided to return to square one and summarize the current situation. Takumi was dead. That left me, Chiemi, and the two Orbis, Kyo, Tae. That's the woman, okay. Meiko, Rikaku, and Haru-chan, a total of 9. And Rikaku. I didn't want to say she'd become a Yomibito or something, but it was clear that she was in a condition that left her functionally useless. Normally the right thing to do here would be to take her to hospital. What? Yes, let's take this wolf to a hospital. But instead they were going to discuss killing her. I'd probably have to remind them of the sound course of action. Whatever the case, if you ignored Rikaku and I, only 7 people were participating in the feast. You haven't been in the feast, ever. With Takumi's death, we would never know what the snake had found out about Haru. Therefore, the only confirmed people were Kyo, a human, and Meiko, a monkey. Meiko, a monkey. Wait, hold on. So I don't think I wrote that down. Is that the girl? Oh, she's a monkey. Okay. Yeah, it was, and also Mochi was the other one. Okay, I'm editing my notes to reflect that. That does leave her cleared. Okay. In person, I thought I could trust Chiemi, so that made 3. They'll have 4 others. This is bad. I wonder if Chiemi understood that. Yeah, there's 2 freaking wolves left, dude. You gotta find them. I had to talk to her in private. Oh, it seems like Rikaku's gotta be a wolf, right? Or is this something different? It's like this game, I don't understand the rules, so it's hard to really theorize when you don't know the rules. We kept Rikaku away from all that happened this morning, so she was still in the dark about Rikaku-san. Yeah, you're not lying. No. The 2 left.
何かな。
ちょっと。
手洗いを借りる。
More and more people left. They probably didn't feel comfortable standing, you know, until now. What the hell are you gonna go fetch? She's creeped me out. Get bad vibes. Tae-chan just continued chanting though. It's like she lived in another world. Besides her, all that was left was Haru-chan. The way she constantly shifted in her seat made it clear that she felt uncomfortable.
Takumi-sanのことは残念だったね。
I tried talking to her.
ええ、知恵姉もずっと
植松里香子さんは
私、あの人苦手よ。気味悪いもの。
千恵美ちゃんは平気。
知恵姉は強いもん。
彼女
2年か3年前。だいぶ前よ。
It seemed like plenty of time to get to know a person if you ask me. Or maybe not. Yasumizu's people had been suffering at the hands of the village heads for generations. Of course they couldn't just accept her.
彼女は長者だというが植松
何が聞きたいのよ。よそ者は
あーごめん。
別にいいけど。
I looked around. I saw Yasu walk upstairs. I lowered my voice and asked.
君にとってモッチーはどんな存在だ。
なんで聞くの？
お葬式代わりだよ。
え？
お葬式では亡くなった人のことを話すだろう。
なんか
何が？
もっと血も涙もない人だと思ってたから。供養とかそんなの言い出すって思わな
I
かっ
don't
た。
think he said anything about the afterlife. I think he's saying peace for the people that are left behind. That was rude.
モッチーは野里の子だったけど選ぶった感じじゃ全然なかった。すっごく変だったし、知恵姉と同じくらい
Yeah, he's a good
いろ
kid.
んな問題を。みんなはモッチーのこと頭おかしい、とっても面白い人。多分テレビとかに出て一つ上だったけど、ほとんど同い年の友達みたいに接してくれたし。
Really? I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I would have thought. I don't know. You seem really young. I mean, I guess you're pretty young too, but I don't know. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was a year younger than her, honestly. Not at all.
楽しかったわよ、すごく。兄ちゃんもすごく仲良かったし。
そんなに？
いつも一緒にいたし、学校でもヒーローみたいな二人組だったよ。
Who does she mean by Nichan?
時々横にいて寂しくなるくらい仲良かった。
Her visage dimmed. I felt like it was easier. I felt like she was easier to understand the most. I agree with that. If Mochi had really liked her, that must have been a tough love. She hadn't even looked at him in that regard, and being with Yasu even made him a target of her jealousy.
でも彼はもういない。安永君は辛いだろうな。
Should she mean Yasu when she said Nichan? So they were friends?
彼を手伝ってあげたら？
Yasu was going upstairs again. I just hit him with my chin.
なんかお手伝い中っぽいし、ちえみちゃん、君はモッチーの代わりにはなれないかもしれないし、最後に決めるのは彼らだとして、それまでにしてあげたいことを助けになりたいとは。
あなたも？
まあ、彼女には萎縮下心がないとは言わないが、それ以上に、彼女は僕には見えないものに。
やっぱり。
仕方ないよ。
昨日のこと。
じゃあ僕も外へ。
Though Haru-chan was always on edge, deep inside she really was an honest girl. I worried she'd fall victim to some scumbag like me down the road. What? Now why are you calling yourself a scumbag? Didn't, like 2 seconds ago, you call yourself nice?
何？
やっぱりあなたは逃げた方が。いや、なんでもない。
She cut herself short and hurried upstairs. Apparently, I had gained some of her trust. Wait, what was she about to say? Really run away? Okay. But it didn't look like I'd get anything more useful than that little bit of advice. Unlike the other inhabitants, she just believed that escape was possible. Really? She just told us it wasn't. That was what she tried to do yesterday. That might have been the extent of it.
それで 誰が怪しいと思う？
Yasu.
ハルちゃんと安永くん。
Really? Haru-chan still? I walked up to Shami, who was looking after Meiko, and we started a conversation.
ハルちゃんはともかく
Oh my
安
god.
くんなの？
Number one suspect!
容疑者は実質4人。タイさんと香織さん。このうち昨日モッチーらが死んだ時に外出していたのは、さらに狼の狡猾さを考えれば彼以外に考えづらい。
That's a good case. If he was only one of those four, was she also though? So that leaves it down to him and her.
ずる賢いってこと？
うん。
そうなの？
今日なぜ匠さんは死んだ？
なぜって狼？
それを聞きたいんじゃない。
雲に守られな。
正解。おそらくもう
So the spider can protect people over and over? And so that means that he figured out who the spider was and killed him already? Maybe it was the punk kid? Or the old man?
蛇である匠さんはそして2日目である昨日雲が別のだ。ということは雲は引き続き
So they
重
can
要度の
protect.
高い
Okay.
匠さんを守ったと。
In every game of this I played before, they can't protect the same person 2 nights in a row. But apparently that's not a rule here.
それは
宴開始後にやられた匠さん以外の人は肝臓さん、吉嗣くん、この4人の中に雲がいて、そうとしか。
それは考えすぎじゃない？
楽天的に考えればそうだね。しかし相手
でもどうやって雲を見抜けるって？
声が大きい。なんでもないよ。雲については
How?
それって
初日肝臓さんが安永くんに喋らせてから最終決定をさせたって言ってただろ。僕の見立てでは彼はもっと率先して動くタイプだし、初日は誰も殺さないという判断を下しそうにもない。
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a bad decision. But he didn't want to be too outspoken because he was trying to stay hidden.
まあそう。
彼が喋って決定が行われれば場に与える影響はとてつもなく大きい。だから狼に狙われやすい。
そうだけど同じ時に安くんも狙わ。
逆を返せば自分が狼なら狼に狙われるリスクはない。それよりも大事なことを黙っていて不自然がられる方が危ない。だから当たりもしそうなら
Yeah, exactly. Which is what Yasu did. He actually gave away some harmful info. Yeah, that doesn't work. But like he was like saying like let's declare who the seer view is going to be and all that, which I don't think is a good idea at all. There's no reason to do that. And he also he maybe pushed for no voting anyone off. Because the thing is, you vote the most suspicious person off, and the seer can view whoever they think is most suspicious. I mean, there's no reason to run all those things and do what they did.
でも肝臓じいちゃんがそんなに
これから言うのは完全に憶測だけど、肝臓さんが動かなかったのは権威を
Because
発
he was
揮
a
して
spider.
狼になぜその必要があったか。なぜなら
まさか。
そうだ、
どうしてそこまで言えるの？
雲は正体がバレた時のリスクが最も大きいカゴだ。それでいて正体がバレない限り、だから彼は極力目立たない。あの人が黙ってるなんてよほどのカゴを持っているに違いないとね。
Which really implies that the wolves are freaking good.
それで狼は彼をまんまと初日に仕留めることに成功し、丸裸にな。
憶測だってのは分かって。
もしそこまで敵が意図的だったとすると、現状起きている異常事態も
どういう
ルール外で人が死にすぎている。
Exactly.
吉嗣君、モッチー、狼にとっては予定外の死人が出ることはだから意図的に人が死ぬように仕向けていると。
話は分かるけど、どういう。
吉嗣君については、例えば夜に出歩くように仕向けて汚れに追いやった。
Wait, who is that? Is that the old man, maybe? Yeah, I don't even have that name written down. So that's wait, hold on. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's Punk Kid.
モッチーと狼じじい氏については植松里香子に彼らを殺させたとすれば辻褄が合う。
What? So is this like a werewolf game, and then one of the villagers is actually a werewolf in real life, and that's Rikaku? So she's also killing people? Is that what's going on? Oh god.
タエさんは植松家の役割に絡めて汚れの原因を語っていたが、植松里香子が2人を殺したとすれば、1日1人しか殺せない宴のルールに
I put aside the idea that there were apparently two types of corruption, slaughter and madness.
でもそんなの無理でしょ。彼女、それに男2人。
じゃあこういうのはモッチーと狼じじい氏2人目の血を流したことで服についてはわからないが何か割烹着でも羽織ればいけるかもしれない。
それはでも
片方は何歳かもわからない老人だしな。
そんななんでそんなこと考え
Yeah,
ら
I'm
れ
starting to not follow you here. I mean, I follow what you're saying, but I don't understand why this seems likely. I don't. Where's your evidence of this? I don't believe you at all.
だから全部
Yeah,
憶測だ。
random
動
speculation.
機だって不明。しかし
I would have more bought it if you said she was a werewolf and she freaking killed him because she's with her werewolf powers.
じゃあそれがどうして狼の
動機の話になるとわからないけど弱みを握ったとかあるいは彼女自身が狼だとかね。
Jamie was at a loss for words. I had no choice but to continue myself.
狼の他の仲間が優位になるように。
それはないよ。
Yeah, no, that's
狼
true.
は
It's not a
数が減
strategy
ること
move.
不利じゃん。
確かに狼対人の人数比で言えばしかし誰もがその打算を働かせる
Well, you just argued before that everything made sense for the wolves to be really smart. Now you're saying maybe the wolves are really dumb. Your logic's starting to slip the more and more this conversation goes on, buddy.
誰もが合理的に動くわけじゃない。非合理的なことは多分起こってるし、その全てを
But
予測
again,
す
you
る
just
こ
said
と
the
は
wolves are really smart for figuring out who the spider was.
いや、
でも
もう何も考えたく。
ごめん。
こっちこそごめん。
僕もこれ以上君たちがこんなものに付き合う必要はないと思う。
無理だよ。分かってるんだ。ここに生まれた
そんなのは
神様が見えない人には分からないよ。
ああ、わからないな。
It really was
困った
troubling.
な。
If this was some tabletop fun for the whole family game, I'd have already punched the GM and left. But lives were actually on the line here, not just my own, but also that of someone I kind of liked. So if you were playing a game and you didn't like it, you'd punch them? Jesus Christ. We made it this far, yet she was uncooperative. Maybe I was going about this wrong. Yeah, I think so. Maybe if I wanted to save her life, I had to start by saving her from the darkness within. Or maybe from the unidentified supernatural phenomena that was binding her. Though it didn't seem like something that could be done in just 3 or 4 days. I'd struggled to the very end. I couldn't participate in the feast myself, so I had no choice but to leave it to Shiemi. I didn't say anything more to her. I just chose to believe that she'd overcome her inner conflict soon. Yeah, I'm assuming that at some point we're going to jump back to the beginning and then join the feast from the beginning. Meanwhile, Mako's drawing had grown so large it felt like she'd get lost in the mist. Why do I have a feeling she's going to be drawing something creepy?
おーい。
I left Chiemi and went to Maiko. The sheep. She waved at me. Good thing she was kind of used to me now.
さっきから何を書いてるんだい？
こっちがね、
お守り？
One drawing showed a warped circle with a line, just as strange going through it. But I could see what it was. It looked like the Noguchi family crest I saw in the dining hall. There were 4 of them, apparently. The others were harder to differentiate. Oh, that rolling drawing was the same one on the stone. The symbol of the Yamotsu.
なるほど。新内さん。こっちのは？
家畜。
I certainly wasn't expecting to hear such a vivid word from a girl 4 years old.
動物会？
これがね、
ふむふむ。
これ
The ground wasn't the best canvas, and the little girl wasn't the best artist. All I could really tell was that they all had 4 legs.
これは
私
The sheep? It had 4 legs though. Well, whatever. Are you a freaking wolf? No, you're supposed to be the monkey. Monkeys don't have 4 legs.
じゃあ一番でっかい
狼
A light chill went down my spine.
なんで
狼が来るから
She's gonna become the old man in the future. The wolf is coming. Yeah, we know. That was like...
狼が来るから逃げて
待ってくれメコちゃん
会ったことない
それはここの狼
ね
蛇とか猿とかは
知らない
狼は何をするの
家畜を食べる
食べる
お馬は食べられたって
Apparently this had nothing to do with the legend. I had no idea if this was from a picture book or her imagination, but there were barely any links between the stories. Or maybe I was rushing to conclusions. Maybe it has to do with us, dude.
そのお話は誰に聞い
本当だよ
じゃあどこで会った
遠く
Oh, not here. I thought she was gonna be like, here, yesterday.
遠くか
ずーっと歩いてきたの
The wolves followed you? Well, it didn't look like I could get any details from her. It far away referred to the land of myth, and it actually had truths regarding the legend that weren't told here. What the hell was I thinking? Land of myth? How stupid. I should just calm down and file under more info that made no sense to me.
そっか頑張ったね
お腹すいた
そうだね
As we turned around, I saw Chiami stand up in the mist again and hesitantly beckon us.
食事ができたそうだ
Kyo was standing at the entrance of the dining hall wearing a gloomy expression. He was never particularly vigorous, but now his visage looked haggard, and he wasn't nearly as arrogant as before. I couldn't blame him. The only person he was friendly, flirtatious to Rikaku was in an awful state. I didn't think it was flirtatious. It seemed more like the object of his worship, or at least, I mean, she ran the house of the religion that he is in, or something. So despite all he'd said, he'd actually relied on Takumi. They seemed to be close in terms of age, too. Really? Takumi looked a lot younger. And from what I'd heard, he'd never really said anything wrong. The only problem was his insensitive choice of words, yeah. The feast was a communication game. Even if you were right about something, it didn't matter much if you couldn't convince anyone.
ありがとうございます
Still, he was one of mere 2 confirmed humans. Treating him badly and making him upset wouldn't help at all. I had to be courteous.
行こうか
お腹減ったねメイコちゃん
Chiami had calmed down a bit. I'd already told her my suspicions. I now had to hope she handled the feast well. All that was left now was to get some nutrients to support my hard-working brain, right?
すみませんねこんなのしかできなくて
She little would appear to be rice gruel from the large pot. Nothing sounds yummy like gruel does. It was a thick white soup with vegetables, rice, and something brown inside.
獅子入りだ慣れてます
ええ生のはダメになっちゃったから
Dude, I don't know. She seemed creepy earlier and I had suspicions about what she was going to feed us, and now she's feeding us mystery meat. I don't trust it. I want some ramen.
ちえみちゃん
I whispered to her.
春明さんはどうしたい
Yeah. Before I didn't feel that like you had to. Now I do. We were talking about the thing where we had to avoid the local food.
せっかくだから今回は貫こうか
Good.
オッケーありがとう
What did I mean by this time? Did I think I had another life or something? Probably. Yeah. It was fine. It wasn't like I was cool with just dying on the off chance that I got a second shot. Dying wasn't an acceptable option. I wasn't about to compromise on that.
ほっつき歩いても仕方ないし
分かった
召し上がらないの
You're
結構アレルギ
creepy.
ーあるんで
I don't trust you.
若い人は変色しおるから
Hey, I was lying, but telling actual allergy sufferers that they should just eat and they'd be cured was actual murder. Well, there was some efforts to cure allergies by carefully injecting the allergens via vaccine, but that was a subject for the doctor. Anyway, going back to the door myself was dangerous since they suspect me. So I waited in the corner of the room, still hungry.
安永君と
まだ上かな。
いいから
僕は彼らを呼びに行ってくるよ。
I went up the stairs, and when I reached the second floor, I stopped for a moment. I heard some rustling. Was it possible that it got intimate in just a few minutes? What? That seems like a crazy leap of logic. Was I about to ruin the mood? Well, food is important too. I said, to get their attention, and slowly went up, making sure I was loud enough for them to hear me coming.
食事だそうだよ。
I'm worried someone's
Yes,
dying.
あ、どうも。
Okay, maybe we didn't interrupt something. The room was full of stuff. It was a huge mess.
なんか探してるみたいだけど。
ええ。新しい割烹着が屋根裏にあるって言われたんですけど、見つけられなく。
そうか。
見た？
え？
その、よければみんなには黙っててもらえますか？
いや、その勝手に気を使いはした。お楽しみ中だった？
何言うのよ。
嘘だよ。こんな時に。
そりゃそうですよ。
もちろんよ。
Really now? I'm still kind of worried.
じゃ、一旦切り上げて食事にしたら
They
どう
didn't
かな。
argue. As we prepared to go back, there was a loud noise from downstairs. And we're gonna end this video here. Till next time.
何？